Hello and welcome to the L&D Academy's channel. I'm Irina, and in this series of videos, we're decoding some of the more popular L&D buzzwords. In part 1, we talked about ADDIE, adult learning principles, agile learning design, blended learning programs, and competency frameworks. You can check out the video right here or click on the link in the description. That is, after watching this one, of course. Today, we're looking at 5 more terms that you need to know: e-learning, gamification, instructional design, Kirkpatrick's model, and learning experience design. Let's begin with e-learning. What is it? As you might have assumed, the E in e-learning stands for electronic learning. Speaking broadly, this is any learning delivered through digital devices like laptops, tablets, or phones. It can be self-paced or instructor-led, and it comes in many shapes: interactive modules, videos, quizzes, scenario-based simulations, even gamified courses. It's not so much about what you're teaching, it's about how you're delivering it, and that is digitally. Why does it matter? There's a good reason e-learning is everywhere. It scales easily, reaches remote or global teams, and offers learners the flexibility to learn at their own pace in their own time. For L&D teams, it's often more cost-effective than traditional training, especially for topics that don't change too often. Think compliance training, onboarding basics, and so on. It also gives you data: who completed it, what they struggled with, and what needs to be improved. But here's the catch. E-learning only works well if it's well designed. A series of dry slides with a next button just isn't going to teach anyone anything. That's why understanding how to make e-learning engaging, interactive, and relevant is a key skill for modern L&D professionals. For example, imagine you're rolling out a new performance management system across the entire organization that spans multiple countries and time zones. Instead of flying trainers to every office, you create a self-paced e-learning module that walks employees through the new process. It includes a short intro video explaining why the new system matters, step-by-step walkthroughs of key features using screen recordings, mini scenarios where learners choose the best way to give feedback, and a short knowledge check at the end to reinforce key points. You host it on your company's learning management system, or LMS, track completion, and follow up with a live Q&A session for managers. That's e-learning in action: cost-effective, scalable, and available when people actually need it. Gamification, what is it? Just like some of the other buzzwords we're looking at in this series, gamification has been around for at least 10 years. Simply put, gamification means adding game-like elements to non-game-like experiences, for example, learning, to make them more engaging. These could be points, badges, leaderboards, progress bars, challenges, or even levels. It's worth noting that it's not about turning learning into a video game, though. It's about borrowing the things that make games addictive, like goals, feedback, and rewards, and using them to boost motivation and keep learners coming back for more. Why does it matter? As much as we hate to admit it, not every topic in L&D is naturally exciting. Hello, compliance training, am I right? Gamification helps inject energy, fun, and a little friendly competition into the learning experience. When done right, and this is super important, it can increase participation, improve retention, and keep learners engaged longer over time. It also taps into people's natural desire to progress, compete, and achieve something, even if it's just a virtual badge. That being said, gamification isn't a magic fix. It has to be tied to clear learning outcomes and used thoughtfully. Otherwise, it becomes fluff with no substance. For example, imagine you're running a cybersecurity awareness program for employees. Yay! Another compliance training thought literally no one ever, right? Instead of a standard e-learning module, you can design a gamified experience. Learners complete short challenges on topics like phishing, password safety, and security browsing. They earn points for each correct answer and unlock new levels as they go. There's a leaderboard showing top scores by department with optional prizes for bragging rights. You even throw in some bonus rounds with real-life scenarios that they need to solve under time pressure. If done right, engagement levels should spike. This would mean people are talking about it, sharing scores, and more importantly, actually remembering how to avoid that suspicious email. That's the power of gamification. Same content, but very different energy. Instructional design, what is it? This is one of the big ones, okay? Instructional design is the process of designing instructions. And if you want to get more technical, it is the process of planning, structuring, and creating learning experiences that actually help people learn and apply new skills or knowledge back on the job. It's where creativity meets strategy. At its core, instructional design is about understanding the real needs of the organization and the learners, and then designing learning experiences that help bridge any existing gaps in knowledge, skills, or attitudes. They could be asking, what do people need to learn? Why do they need it? And what's the best way to help them get there? And after finding out, instructional design is also about choosing the right content, delivery method, activities, and assessments, and making sure everything ties back to clear learning objectives. Why does it matter? Almost anyone can throw together a presentation or a few slides. Thank you, AI, for making this easier than ever before. But good instructional design is what turns content into a meaningful, effective learning experience that centers on the needs of the learners and the organization. It also ensures your training isn't just interesting, it's also impactful for both the learner and the business. It helps learners not only understand a concept, but also apply it in their real-world context. When done well, it saves time, increases engagement, and improves performance. For L&D professionals, this is one of the most foundational skills you will need, whether you're designing a full-blown course or just a quick lunch and learn. For example, let's say the business wants a training session on how to run better meetings. An instructional designer wouldn't just jump into slide creation. That's what amateurs do. They start by asking, what does better mean to understand the desired outcomes? Who's struggling and why to learn who the learners are? What needs to change to figure out how to bridge the gap between what's happening now and what needs to be happening? And from there, they might define a learning objective, like meeting facilitators will be able to structure a 30-minute meeting with a clear outcome. Design a short blended course with a 10-minute video on the basics of a meeting structure, a downloadable meeting template for creating meeting agendas and taking notes, and live role-play sessions. Add a follow-up activity where learners apply the tips in a real meeting and reflect on what worked and what didn't in a private Slack channel. Kirkpatrick's Model, what is it? The Kirkpatrick Model is one of the most well-known frameworks for evaluating the effectiveness of training or learning programs. It tells us that in order to evaluate any learning experience, we should be looking into 4 things or 4 levels: reactions, learning, behavior, and results. Reaction asks, did learners like the training? Learning is concerned with whether or not they actually learned something. Behavior asks, are they applying what they learned back on the job? And finally, results want to know, did it make a measurable impact on the business? If you want to learn more, check out our video, How to Use Kirkpatrick's 4 Levels of Evaluation. Link is in all the usual places. Why it matters. Let's say that you only collect simple feedback after each training session that only asks if participants enjoyed it. This kind of feedback isn't going to tell you much apart from the ego booster that you might receive from a comment like, "The facilitator was awesome." It won't show you whether the material is actually learned, if it is being applied back on the job, and if the investment in the training was actually worth it. This is why you need the rest of the levels. Learning isn't just about feeling good. It's about doing things differently and driving business impact. Potentially, even more importantly, it also helps you prove the value of your work to stakeholders. When you can show that your program not only landed well, which is yay, awesome, but changed behaviors and improved performance, that's powerful. For example, you've just rolled out a customer service training program. Here's how you might evaluate it using the Kirkpatrick model. Level 1, reaction. You run a post-session survey. Most participants say the content was useful and the facilitator was engaging. Great start. Level 2, learning. You include a short quiz or skills check to confirm they understood key concepts, like how to handle difficult customers. Level 3, behavior. A few weeks later, you check in with managers. Are the agents actually using the new techniques in real customer interactions? You might also want to review call recordings or gather peer feedback. Level 4, results. Over time, you track metrics like customer satisfaction scores, complaint resolution times, or repeat call rates. If those improve, you know your training had a real business impact. Learning experience design. What is it? In recent years, classical instructional design was replaced by its younger and possibly more creative cousin, learning experience design. LXD is still about helping people learn, but it goes a step further by focusing on designing engaging, meaningful, and learner-centered experiences from start to finish. LXD usually blends learning science with disciplines like design thinking, storytelling, and user experience principles. It's no longer just about what learners need to know, it's about how they feel, interact, and engage with the content along the way. That is the full experience. Why does it matter? We're surrounded by digital distractions: TikTok, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, any meme website. In such a world, traditional click next learning just doesn't cut it anymore. Hey, go away. Shoo, 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 shoo. Okay, good. Now, learners need more than just information that they can easily Google. While it may certainly save them time, they also need relevance, choice, and a sense of connection. LXD helps you design learning that people actually want to be a part of. It puts the learner at the center, considers their context and emotions, and creates a journey rather than a content dump. The main principles can be used in both online and hybrid learning, where experience matters just as much as content. For example, imagine you're designing a course on conflict resolution for first-time managers. Instead of starting with a long theory slide deck, and let's be honest, that would be the easiest way to go, an LXD approach might look a little bit differently. You would start with a relatable story, maybe a short video of two colleagues having a tense moment during a project meeting. Then open up a group discussion by asking, what would you do in this situation? Let them choose their path through the module, whether they want to explore strategies, practice responses in a scenario, or reflect on their own experiences first. And then include real voices, maybe short clips of managers sharing what works and what doesn't for them. And build in moments of reflection and peer sharing to keep the experience human and authentic before, during, and after a live session. And that's a wrap on part 2 with another 5 L&D buzzwords. Whether you're brand new to the field or trying to sound a little less confused in your next team meeting, understanding these terms will give you a solid foundation and probably a bit more confidence too. L&D is full of jargon, but once you break it down, it all starts to make sense and become fun to play with. In part 3, we'll keep going with more terms you're bound to hear, like learning journeys, LMS, learning objectives, and return on investment. So stay curious and keep learning. See you in the next one.